The massive repair dock of Deep Space Station 42 floated silently in Jupiter's orbit, its metal arms extending like a giant mechanical spider waiting for its next patient. Inside the main control room, Chief Engineer Tom Miller sipped his coffee while watching the stars through the reinforced viewport. 20 years of fixing everything from small trading vessels to giant cargo ships had earned him the nickname the Miracle Worker, though he always said there was no miracle in good old human know-how. "Chief, we've got something big coming in," called out Jack from the sensor station. "Really big. And it's not one of ours." Tom walked over to the glowing display. The blip on the screen was larger than anything he'd seen before. "How big are we talking about?" "About 3 kilometers long, sir. It's a battlecruiser. Alien design. Never seen anything like it." The entire control room fell silent. Humanity had been part of the galactic community for only 15 years, and while they'd proven themselves useful in trade and cultural exchange, they'd never had a military vessel of this size visit their repair stations. "Get the dock crews ready," Tom ordered, his voice steady despite the excitement building in his chest. "And someone wake up Billy in engineering. We might need his crazy ideas for this one." The alien ship came into view 30 minutes later. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Sleek purple-black metal plates arranged in perfect geometric patterns, with what looked like crystalline structures growing from its hull. But even from a distance, Tom could see the problem. A massive gash ran along its port side, exposing internal systems that flickered with unstable energy. The communication system crackled to life. "Deep Space Station 42. This is First Engineer Rannoch of the Stellar Confederation battlecruiser Star Piercer. We request emergency repairs. This is Chief Engineer Miller. Welcome to Jupiter Space, First Engineer. We're ready to receive you. Follow our guidance beams to Dock 7. The docking procedure took almost an hour. The alien ship was so large that they had to reconfigure 3 repair bays into one just to accommodate it. When the airlock finally cycled, Tom found himself face to face with First Engineer Rannoch, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to shimmer like oil on water. "Your repair station was recommended by a trading vessel," Rannoch said, their translator making the words sound slightly metallic. "Though I must admit, I have doubts about whether a younger species can handle repairs on a ship of this complexity." Tom had heard this kind of talk before. To many alien species, humanity's rapid rise from planetary civilization to spacefaring race made them seem like children playing with technology they barely understood. "Well," Tom said with a smile, "why don't you show me the problem? And then you can decide if we're up to the task." The damage was worse than it looked from outside. The gash wasn't just a simple hull breach. It had torn through 13 levels of the ship, damaging critical power conduits and quantum stabilization fields. According to Rannoch, 3 other repair stations had already declared it beyond standard repair protocols. Tom walked along the damaged section, his experienced eyes taking in every detail. The alien engineering was incredibly advanced, but he could see the basic principles at work. It reminded him of the time he'd fixed his grandfather's tractor with parts from a washing machine. "Your standard repair protocols might not work," Tom said, "but we humans have a different approach. We don't just follow manuals. We solve problems." Rannoch's eyes flickered with what might have been amusement or doubt. "And how do you propose to fix quantum field generators with your human approach?" Tom picked up a piece of the damaged hull plating, examining the strange alloy. "First, we study. Then we experiment. Then we innovate. And most importantly, we don't give up until it works." He tapped his tablet, already sketching out ideas. "Give us 3 days. If we can't at least show you a working solution by then, you can leave without paying a credit." The alien engineer was silent for a long moment. Finally, they spoke. 3 days. But I warn you, if you damage the ship further, the Confederation will not be pleased." "Fair enough," Tom said, already calling his team. "Billy, get up here with the quantum scanner. Jack, I need those material analysis results. And someone find me that paper about crystal lattice repair techniques from the Mars Engineering Journal. As his team scrambled into action, Tom couldn't help but smile. This was what humans did best, facing the impossible with nothing but creativity, determination, and the willingness to try something new. The real work was about to begin. Tom's repair team gathered around the damaged section of the alien battlecruiser, their faces lit by the purple glow of exposed power conduits. Billy, the youngest engineer on the team, held up his quantum scanner with a worried look. "Chief, these readings don't make any sense," he said, showing Tom the display. "The quantum field is completely unstable. According to the alien repair manual, this is impossible to fix without replacing the entire system." Tom looked at the readings and then at the damaged ship. He remembered something from his early days, back when humans were just starting to explore space. "You know what this reminds me of? The Mars colony crisis of 2157. The team gathered closer as Tom continued working while telling the story. "Back then, we didn't have fancy quantum fields or advanced alien tech. When the main power grid failed during a dust storm, all we had was basic tools and whatever we could find. My father was there. He fixed a broken fusion reactor with parts from old solar panels and mining equipment." First Engineer Rannoch, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "That seems highly irregular. Proper repair protocols require exact replacement parts." "That's where humans are different," Tom said, pulling out an old tablet from his toolkit. "We learned to fix things long before we had proper protocols. Look at this." He showed them a series of pictures. Old Earth vehicles repaired with unexpected materials, space station modules patched with emergency seals, and satellites fixed with improvised tools. Our whole history is about making things work with whatever we have. It's not about following a manual. It's about understanding how things work at their core. Billy's eyes lit up with understanding. "So instead of replacing the quantum field generator, we're going to modify it," Tom finished. "The crystal structure in the alien hull. It's similar to the crystalline formations we use in our deep space communication arrays. If we can adapt our repair techniques." He turned to Rannoch. "With your permission, we'd like to try something that's not in your manual." The alien engineer's shimming eyes showed clear doubt, but they nodded. "Proceed. But remember our agreement." Over the next 12 hours, Tom's team worked in shifts. They carefully mapped the damaged quantum field, studying how it interacted with the ship's crystal-based technology. Billy discovered that the human quantum scanner could be modified to interface with the alien systems, something that wasn't supposed to be possible according to the Confederation's technical documents. "Look at this," Tom said, pointing to a holographic display. "The quantum field isn't totally destroyed. It's just tangled, like a garden hose with a knot in it. We don't need to replace it. We need to unknot it." He pulled out another piece of equipment from Earth's early space age, a field harmonizer that had once been used to stabilize the first human attempts at faster-than-light travel. "If we combine this with the alien tech, we can guide the quantum field back into its proper shape." Rannoch watched with increasing interest as the human team worked. They didn't follow the standard procedures. Instead, they tested, adjusted, and invented new solutions on the spot. When one approach didn't work, they quickly tried another. "This is not how repairs are done in the Confederation," Rannoch noted, all four arms crossed. "Maybe that's why 3 other stations couldn't fix it," Billy said quietly, earning a proud smile from Tom. By the 18th hour, they had their first success. The quantum field began to stabilize, the purple glow steadying into a smooth, continuous flow. The ship's internal diagnostics showed a 40% improvement in system stability. "Impossible," Rannoch whispered, checking their own instruments. "You used outdated human technology to repair a quantum field generator." Tom shook his head. "No, we used human thinking to solve the problem. The tools were just tools. It's not about having the most advanced technology. It's about understanding the principles and not being afraid to try new solutions." As if to prove his point, The ship's systems suddenly surged, the quantum field strengthening beyond its original specifications. Rennock's eyes widened as they checked the readings. The efficiency. It's better than factory standard, they said, their translator barely hiding their amazement. How? Tom smiled, already planning the next phase of repairs. That's the thing about human solutions. Sometimes they work better than the original design. Now, about that hull breach. I have some ideas involving crystal growth techniques we developed for building bases on Europa. The word spread quickly through the station. The humans weren't just fixing the unfixable ship, they were making it better than new. And this was just the beginning. The emergency alert blared through Deep Space Station 42 just as Tom's team was finishing the final repairs on the Confederation battlecruiser. Red lights flashed across every deck as the station's AI announced. Priority distress signal detected. Refugee vessel approaching. Multiple system failures reported. Tom rushed to the control room, almost colliding with Billy, who was already pulling up the sensor data. The image on the main screen showed a massive transport ship limping toward the station, its engines sputtering with unstable energy. "What's the passenger count?" Tom asked, his heart sinking as he saw the ship's condition. 5,000, Jack replied from his station. "Mostly families. They're running from some kind of conflict in the Orient sector." The refugee ship's captain's voice crackled through the speakers, filled with static and desperation. "This is Captain Reed of the New Dawn. We have multiple hull breaches, life support is failing, and our main reactor is approaching critical failure. Please, we have children aboard." Tom looked at the damaged ship's design. It was a nightmare, a mix of technology from at least 4 different alien species, held together with emergency repairs and what looked like pure hope. Most repair stations would turn it away as too risky to attempt repairs. "Bring them in," Tom ordered. "Dock 5. It's the only one big enough." First Engineer Rennock, who had stayed to observe the final repairs on their battlecruiser, stepped forward. "Chief Miller, that vessel is beyond saving. The mixture of incompatible technologies alone makes it impossible to repair according to any known protocols." "Good thing we don't always follow protocols," Tom replied, already heading for the dock. "Billy, get every engineer we have. Jack, start evacuating the nearest sections in case that reactor goes critical. And someone get me the old Earth files on reactor containment from the nuclear age." The New Dawn barely made it into the dock. Up close, it looked even worse. The hull was a patchwork of different metals and alloys. Emergency seals covered half the port side, and the reactor housing was glowing in colors Tom had never seen before. Captain Reed met them at the airlock. He was human, but his crew was a mix of species from across the galaxy. "We've tried everything," he said, his face heavy with exhaustion. "The reactor, it's a hybrid design. When it was damaged, the fail-safes from different systems started fighting each other. Now it's in a feedback loop we can't break." Tom and his team made their way to the engine room. The reactor core was a fusion of Confederation technology, old Earth systems, and what looked like experimental Centaurian power matrices. Warning messages in 6 different languages flashed on various screens. "Impossible," one of the alien engineers whispered. "These systems were never meant to work together." "Maybe not," Tom said, studying the reactor's chaotic energy patterns. "But someone made them work once. That means we can do it again." He turned to his team. "This is what we do. This is why people come to us. We don't just fix ships. We solve problems no one else will touch." Billy scanned the reactor with their modified quantum scanner. "Chief, I have an idea. Remember how we stabilized the quantum field on the battlecruiser? What if we used the same principle here, but reverse it?" Tom grinned. "Now you're thinking like a human engineer. Jack, get me those old reactor containment procedures. We're going to combine Earth's nuclear age safety systems with alien tech." For the next 6 hours, they worked nonstop. Tom's team used everything they had learned from fixing the battlecruiser, combined with centuries of human experience in dealing with nuclear reactions. They created new interfaces between incompatible systems, rewrote safety protocols to work together instead of fighting each other, and used materials in ways their original designers had never imagined. The station's other engineers watched in amazement as the humans worked. There was no standard procedure, no manual to follow. Instead, they combined their knowledge of basic principles with creative problem-solving, treating the ship's problems like a puzzle that had to be solved. Finally, the reactor's angry glow began to steady. The warning messages stopped flashing. The power levels stabilized. Captain Reed couldn't believe his eyes. "How did you do it?" 3 other stations said it couldn't be fixed. Tom wiped the sweat from his forehead, looking at his tired but proud team. Sometimes the biggest advantage humans have is that nobody told us something was impossible. Now, let's take a look at those hull breaches. I think we got some ideas about those too. The word about the refugee ship spread even faster than the battlecruiser story. Soon, Deep Space Station 42 would face an even bigger challenge, handling all the ships coming to experience the magic of human repairs. News of the successful repairs on both the Confederation battlecruiser and the refugee ship spread quickly through the galaxy. 1 week later, Deep Space Station 42's observation deck had become an unofficial classroom. Engineers from 12 different alien species watched as Tom Miller explained human repair philosophy. "The problem with modern repair methods," Tom said, pointing to a holographic display of various spacecraft, "is that everyone wants to replace parts instead of fixing them. But humans, we learned something different from our history." He switched the display to show scenes from Earth's past. Farmers fixing tractors in remote fields, mechanics keeping ancient cars running with handmade parts, and early astronauts making repairs in space with basic tools. "This is George Williams," Tom continued, showing an image of an old lunar base. In 2145, he kept an entire moon colony alive for 6 months by fixing life support systems with parts from broken mining equipment. He didn't have a manual. He didn't have replacement parts. He just understood how things worked and refused to give up. First Engineer Rannoch, who had decided to stay and learn more about human repair techniques, raised one of their 4 hands. "But surely modern technology is too complex for such primitive methods." Tom smiled and led the group to what the station crew called the workshop. It was a large room filled with tools from every era of human engineering, from simple wrenches to advanced quantum aligners. Along one wall, the refugee ship's damaged reactor parts lay next to pieces of the battlecruiser's quantum field generator. "Look at this reactor component," Tom said, picking up a twisted piece of metal and crystal. "By itself, it's just a broken part. But when you understand the basic principles, heat transfer, power flow, energy containment, you see it's not so different from an old Earth nuclear reactor. The physics haven't changed, just the technology we use to work with them." He moved to a workbench where Billy was teaching younger engineers how to repair complex circuit boards. "Watch this," Tom said to his audience. Billy held up a damaged alien circuit board. "This is from a Centaurian navigation system. According to their repair manual, it needs to be replaced entirely. But look closer." He pointed to the tiny pathways of light and energy. "These patterns are similar to old Earth fiber optics. If we understand how data flows, we can repair the pathways instead of replacing them." The alien engineers watched in fascination as Billy demonstrated the repair technique, combining traditional soldering methods with modern energy pathway restoration. "Here's the real secret," Tom continued, walking through the workshop. "We keep everything. Every broken part, every failed attempt, every successful repair. It all teaches us something new. Where most species see garbage, we see opportunities to learn." He stopped at a large display screen showing the station's repair success rate. "In the past year, we fixed 37 unrepairable ships. Each one taught us something new. Each challenge made us better." An engineer from a highly advanced species spoke up. "But our ships are designed to be replaced, not repaired. It's more efficient." "Is it?" Tom asked. He pulled up data from the refugee ship repairs. That ship had parts from 4 different species, brand new. Those parts would never work together. But we made them work because we understood the principles behind each one. Sometimes, a repair can make something better than it was when new. He led them to his personal workbench, where he kept his most prized possession, his grandfather's old toolbox. Inside were basic tools that had helped fix everything from farm equipment to spaceships. Every human repair station has a place like this, Tom explained. We call it the workshop, but it's really a library of solutions. Every tool, every broken part, every successful fix, they're all chapters in a book we're still writing. The alien engineers started taking notes as Tom demonstrated various repair techniques. He showed them how to identify common patterns in different technologies, how to adapt old solutions to new problems, and most importantly, how to think creatively when facing seemingly impossible repairs. The galaxy is changing, Tom said, holding up a piece of the battlecruiser's hull. Ships are getting more complex, using technology from multiple species. You can't just follow manuals anymore. You need to understand, adapt, and innovate. As if to prove his point, the station's alert system chimed. Another ship was approaching, seeking repairs that 3 other stations had declared impossible. Tom smiled at his alien students. Who wants to see these principles in action? We got some real work to do. The future of spacecraft repair was changing. 3 months after fixing the refugee ship, Deep Space Station 42 had become the busiest repair facility in the sector. Ships of all sizes and designs filled every available dock, with more waiting in a long queue that stretched out toward Jupiter's orbit. Tom stood at his favorite viewing window, watching as a massive alien cargo ship took the place of a recently departed mining vessel. His tablet beeped constantly with new repair requests. "Chief," Jack called from his station, "we've got 14 more ships requesting emergency docking. And you're not going to believe this, but 3 of them are Confederation battlecruisers." First Engineer Rannoch, who had become a permanent student of human repair methods, looked up from their workstation. The Confederation High Command must have been impressed by our repairs. Those ships never leave their designated repair facilities. "Well, they do now," Tom said, checking the growing list of repairs needed. The station's success had brought more work than they could handle, but that had given him an idea. He pressed the station-wide communication button. "Attention all repair crews and visiting engineers. Please gather in the workshop in 15 minutes. We're going to try something new." The workshop, once a simple repair bay, had grown into a massive facility covering an entire deck of the station. Tools from a dozen worlds lined the walls, and repair crews from different species worked side by side, learning from each other. As the crews gathered, Tom climbed onto a workbench to address them. "Look around you," he said. 3 months ago, this was just a human repair station. Now it's becoming something more, a place where the galaxy's best engineers come to learn and work together. He gestured to the screens showing the long line of waiting ships. "We've got more work than we can handle, but instead of turning ships away, we're going to do what humans do best, adapt and teach others." Tom's plan was bold. Transform Deep Space Station 42 into the galaxy's first multi-species repair academy. Every visiting engineer would not only get their ship fixed, but would learn how to make similar repairs themselves. "The galaxy needs more than just human repair stations," Tom explained. "It needs engineers who can think like us, who aren't afraid to try new solutions." The alien engineers in the crowd looked uncertain. An engineer from an advanced species spoke up. "But our training says we must follow exact procedures. We cannot just improvise like humans." Billy, who had grown confident in teaching others, stepped forward. "Remember last week when we fixed that Centaurian drive core? You found the solution by remembering how your species repaired ancient water purifiers. That's thinking like a human, using old knowledge to solve new problems." The next few weeks were busy but exciting. The workshop became a classroom where species from across the galaxy learned to combine their traditional knowledge with human creativity. They started small, teaching basic repair principles, then moved on to more complex problems. Tom watched with pride as his alien students began to understand. They learned to see patterns in different technologies, to trust their understanding of basic principles, and most importantly, to not fear trying new solutions. "Look at this," Rannoch said one day, showing Tom a repair they had made on a damaged quantum drive. They had combined Confederation crystal technology with an old human method for repairing cracked glass. "I would never have thought this possible before." The station's reputation grew even more. Ships didn't just come for repairs now. They came to learn. Every successful repair became a lesson, every solution shared and improved upon by engineers from different worlds. One morning, Tom received a message that made him smile. The Stellar Confederation was officially recognizing Deep Space Station 42 as an accredited engineering academy. Ships from across the galaxy would be sent there not just for repairs, but for their crews to learn the human way of fixing things. "You've created something remarkable here," Rannoch said, standing beside Tom as they watched a group of alien engineers excitedly discuss a repair technique Billy was teaching. "You're not just fixing ships anymore. You're changing how the galaxy thinks about repairs." Tom nodded, picking up his grandfather's old wrench. "That's the thing about human knowledge. It grows better when you share it. Now, let's see what impossible thing we're going to fix today." As if on cue, the station's alert system announced the arrival of another damaged ship, and engineers of 6 different species rushed to help, eager to learn and apply their new skills. The age of human repair methods had truly begun. The emergency alert woke Tom from a rare moment of sleep. Red lights flashed throughout Deep Space Station 42 as the AI's voice echoed through every corridor. "Priority alert. Battle-damaged fleet approaching. Multiple ships in critical condition." Tom rushed to the control room, where Jack and Billy were already at their stations. The main screen showed a horrifying sight. 15 heavily damaged warships limping toward the station, trailing debris and leaking plasma. "It's the Confederation Defense Fleet," Rannoch said, their 4 hands moving quickly over the control panel. "They defended a colony world from pirates. The battle was won, but at a great cost." The fleet commander's face appeared on the main screen, his uniform torn and covered in smoke stains. "Deep Space Station 42. This is Admiral Ross. We have critical damage to all ships. Multiple reactor breaches, failing life support systems, and we've lost contact with 2 vessels entirely." Tom looked at the sensor readings. Every ship was damaged in different ways, some with hull breaches, others with failing engines, and a few barely holding together. It was more damage than the station had ever handled at once. "Bring them in," Tom ordered without hesitation. "All repair crews to stations. Billy, start organizing the teams. Jack, clear every dock we have." He turned to the gathered engineers, both human and alien. "This is what we've been training for." The next few hours were chaos. Ships docked one after another, their crews evacuating to the station as repair teams rushed to stabilize critical systems. Tom moved from ship to ship, coordinating repairs and making split-second decisions. "The reactor on the flagship is going critical," an engineer shouted. "Use the containment method we developed for the refugee ship," Tom called back. "Billy, show them how we modified the field generators." In Dock 3, a Confederation cruiser's life support was failing. The alien repair team, trained in human methods, didn't wait for orders. They combined parts from 3 different species technology to create an emergency system, just as they'd learned in the workshop. "That's impossible," a Confederation engineer said, watching as his ship's systems stabilized. "Those parts shouldn't work together." "Impossible is what we do best," replied a young alien engineer who had learned human repair techniques. She was already moving to the next problem, carrying a toolbox filled with both ancient human tools and modern alien devices. The 2 ships they'd lost contact with were towed in last. Their communication systems were completely destroyed, but their crews had survived in emergency pods. Tom found himself working alongside Rannoch to restore power, using techniques they'd developed together over the past months. "Remember how we fixed that quantum field?" Tom said as they worked. "Same principle, different scale. The basics don't change, just the size of the problem." Hour after hour, the repairs continued. Every lesson learned at the station, every technique developed, every bit of shared knowledge between species came into play. Human ingenuity combined with alien technology in ways nobody had thought possible before. In the midst of the crisis, Tom saw something remarkable. The repair crews, made up of beings from across the galaxy, worked together seamlessly. Humans taught their methods on the spot, while alien engineers added their own knowledge to find new solutions. "Chief," Billy called out, "the flagship's reactor is stable. Life support restored on all vessels. Hull breaches contained." After 18 straight hours of work, Tom finally allowed himself to breathe. Every ship in the fleet was safe, not just patched up, but properly repaired, using techniques that combined the best of human creativity with advanced alien technology. Admiral Ross found Tom in the workshop, where crews were still working on secondary repairs. "In all my years," the Admiral said, "I've never seen anything like this. 15 ships, all critically damaged, all repaired in less than a day. The Confederation needs this kind of capability." Tom looked around at his tired but proud repair teams, humans and aliens working side by side, sharing tools and techniques, teaching each other as they worked. "That's why we're here," Tom said, "not just to fix ships, but to show the galaxy a new way of solving problems." He picked up his tablet, already seeing notifications of more ships requesting repairs. Now who's ready for the next challenge? The repair crews, despite their exhaustion, raised their tools in response. The galaxy was changing, and Deep Space Station 42 was leading that change, one impossible repair at a time. 1 year after the fleet crisis, Deep Space Station 42 had changed beyond recognition. The once simple repair station had grown into a massive complex twice its original size. New docks stretched out into space, while the workshop had expanded to cover 3 full decks. Tom stood in his favorite observation spot, but this time he wasn't alone. Beside him stood Admiral Ross, First Engineer Rannoch, and representatives from 20 different alien species. They were all there for a special ceremony. 10 years ago, Tom began his speech, this station was just another human repair dock. Today, we're about to open the first Galactic Engineering Academy. The crowd gathered in the main hall erupted in applause. The new academy building gleamed behind them, its design combining architectural styles from across the galaxy. Inside, classrooms and workshops were ready to teach the next generation of engineers. "But this isn't just a human achievement," Tom continued. "Look around you. Every species here has added something to our knowledge. We taught the galaxy about fixing things, but you taught us new ways to use that knowledge." He gestured to Billy, who was now the head instructor for basic repair techniques. The young engineer who had once worried about quantum readings was now teaching aliens twice his age how to think creatively about repairs. Admiral Ross stepped forward with an announcement. "The Stellar Confederation has officially adopted human repair methods as part of our standard training. Every ship in our fleet will now carry a workshop, staffed by engineers trained in both traditional and human repair techniques." The changes weren't just happening at the station. Across the galaxy, repair facilities were changing. The old replace, don't repair mindset was giving way to a new approach that combined human ingenuity with advanced alien technology. Rannoch, who had become the leading expert in combining Confederation technology with human methods, shared their own news. "Our latest battle cruiser designs now include dedicated repair bays based on human workshop layouts. We found that ships with these facilities have 300% better survival rates in crisis situations." Tom watched as a group of new students entered the workshop. There were young humans eager to learn alien technology, and alien engineers ready to learn human creativity. They would learn together, sharing knowledge that would save countless lives across the stars. "Chief," Jack called from nearby. "You've got to see this." He held up his tablet, showing a news report from a distant sector. A small human repair ship had just saved an entire space station using nothing but basic tools and knowledge learned at Deep Space Station 42. "That's what we wanted," Tom said proudly. "Not just one station fixing ships, but a whole galaxy of engineers who know how to solve problems." The ceremony continued with demonstrations of new repair techniques. Students showed how they could combine simple human tools with advanced alien technology to fix problems that once seemed impossible. Each demonstration proved that the best solutions came from working together. Later that day, Tom visited his old office one last time. He was retiring as chief engineer to become the academy's first director. On his desk sat his grandfather's toolbox, now a symbol of how far they'd come. "Keeping this?" Billy asked from the doorway. "Of course," Tom replied, picking up a worn wrench. "Every new student should see it. It reminds us that no matter how advanced we get, the basics still matter." As if to prove his point, the station's alert system chimed. A ship was approaching, its engines failing in a way nobody had seen before. The old Tom would have rushed to fix it himself, but now he smiled and turned to his former student. "Well, Billy, ready to show the next generation how it's done." Together, they walked to the workshop, where students and teachers from across the galaxy were already gathering, tools in hand, ready to solve another impossible problem. As Tom watched them work, he realized this was humanity's greatest gift to the stars. Not just the ability to fix things, but the courage to try new solutions and the wisdom to share knowledge with others. Deep Space Station 42 had become more than a repair station. It was a symbol of what could happen when the galaxy's species worked together, combining human creativity with alien technology to build a better future for everyone. And somewhere out there, another impossible repair was waiting to be made, another problem waiting to be solved, by engineers who had learned to think like humans while working with the technology of the stars.